also the instructor, Delante. Definitely make sure that any questions that you have does not go unanswered. Very genuine, very transparent, and really loves what he does. And that's one thing that I look for in a mentor.
This broadcast is brought to you by Bold People Get Rich. For more investing knowledge, be sure to visit www.bpgrinc.com.
Now sharing what he's learned with others by hosting courses on investment strategies.
To be able to pass that knowledge on to other people, it makes me feel like, I'm doing something that's valuable in life. This broadcast is brought to you by Bold People Get Rich. For more investing knowledge, be sure to visit www.bpgrinc.com.
First thing I want to let y'all know is you can start a trading account with as little as $10, all right? And if you're not greedy and trying to get into this and try to make a whole bunch of money really fast, you would understand that even getting into it with $10, maybe you may not make a lot of money, but you can begin to learn the markets with some skin in the game.
This broadcast is brought to you by Bold People Get Rich. For more investing knowledge, be sure to visit www.bpgrinc.com.
But what this lesson is about is, like I said, for the working person. You do not have to be in front of the computer to actually participate in the foreign exchange market. Did y'all know that? Did you know you don't have to actually press buttons to participate in the foreign exchange market? You don't always have to be in front of the screen.
This broadcast is brought to you by Bold People Get Rich. For more investing knowledge, be sure to visit www.bpgrinc.com.
Welcome to Markup Mondays, where every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we analyze the financial markets, educate the community on trading and investing, discuss world news and popular topics. I'm your host, Delante Brady, Chief Analyst and six-figure earner with Bold People Get Rich, and here are some things you need to know about this broadcast.
During the market analysis portion of this call, we often find areas in the market to trade or make our investments. To be updated on these entries, exits, and trade management, make sure you tap the 3 dots on my Facebook page and change following to favorites. This way, you'll never miss an update. To receive investment knowledge, exclusive deals, and updates, click the link tree in my bio and subscribe to our mailing list. If you're viewing this broadcast on YouTube, to be kept up to date, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. This is an event made for the people, by the people, and we love to hear your feedback and answer your questions during the show. So please feel free to comment as often as you like. Lastly, all forms of investing do involve risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Increasing leverage increases risk. Before deciding to trade in any financial market, you should carefully consider your financial objectives, level of experience, and risk appetite. Any opinion, news, research, analysis, price valuation, or other information contained in this video does not constitute investment advice. No person or persons in this video is a financial advisor. Welcome to Markup Mondays. Everybody go ahead and drop where you calling in from, your city, your state. Let us know where you calling in from. Glad to have you on. If you're watching the recording, feel free to drop your questions and comments inside the comment box, and I will answer those and get to them later. But first thing we want to do is go over last week. Let's go ahead and review what happened last week. So we called out a buy for EU. Give me a quick second to share my screen. Cleveland in the building, welcome. Reminderville is in the building, welcome. All right, let's make this full screen. All right, so last week we called a buy on EU. And you know what, let's switch over to the old chart. Yeah, last week we called a buy for EU in this green zone right here. And as you can see, it blew right through it. So that was a trade that we lost last week. We made up for it later on in the week with some other trades. But interest rates, the news release on interest rates pushed EU down further and at a momentum that we weren't expecting. And that was a lost trade. So moving on to the next trade, right? Let's go ahead and switch our chart. Close this one out. All right, so we always want to review what's going on from the higher time frame. As always, right? Just like last week, the week before that, we are bearish. The euro versus the United States dollar is bearish. We're creating lower lows and lower highs. Where you see the highs and the lows highlighted with the red circle, that's a high, a low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. All right, so that represents lower lows and lower highs. And just a reminder of where we are in the market and what we're going to be looking for on the smaller time frame as far as that big trade, that trade that's going to have a very strong reaction. All right, so right off top, I can tell you from the daily, we are looking at a area to sell from. Where you see the daily zone, this is what I'm going to be calling out for Markup Mondays. All right, so as far as a sell, we're waiting for EU to come up to this zone right here. All right, this daily zone. Go ahead and look at that, compare it to your chart. Right, mark it up. This area of consolidation right here, this is the zone that we want to sell from. All right, so this is what I'm calling out for Markup Mondays for a sell. Let's drop down to the lower time frame and see what's going on. And so that price level is in between, let's say 1.1370 and 1.13250. So 1.1370 and 1.13250. What's going on, Christine, Portland? Welcome. All right, so why do I want to sell from this area? Well,
From the daily, we see that it's an area of consolidation. Some of my advanced students can see what's going on in that area as well. But not only do we have those confirmations, if we're downtrending, if we're creating lower lows and lower highs, right? This was a low, this was a lower high, and we created a lower low down here, right? So this is looked at as an extension beyond this low here. This is looked at as an extension beyond this low. How far did we extend? Well, if we pull our fib tool out, we measure from the low to the high, we can see our extensions on the bottom side of the Fibonacci. And it really didn't even extend to the 127, which is why I believe EU has a little more room to go down. I believe that this is a strong reaction that's happening right now as far as the buy side. We're headed up, to a sell zone, in my opinion. Nothing is for sure in the markets, but this is what I feel based on my analysis and what EU has been showing us. And so we have more room to come down. And so we're still looking for sales. All right. Here's the 127% extension. We have our 161.8 extension right down here by a buy zone, right? We have a buy zone on the daily, and it's also the 161.8 extension. And on top of that, we also have a significant price level down here at 1.1000. All right. And then below that, we have 200%. But these are our targets for the longer term trade, all right, or the longer, the vision as far as where we see EU going. Now, as far as this week, can somebody drop in the comments what's significant about this week? What's significant about the foreign exchange market this week? We have a very important event going on this week. What is that? I just want to make sure everybody been paying attention. We have a very important, yep, exactly. Angel got it. Angel was the first one to get it. Good job, Angel. NFP, non-foreign payroll, probably the most significant, news release when it comes to the foreign exchange market. Yep, James said NFP, non-foreign payroll. All right, and we've seen a lot of movement today. Today is only Monday, and EU ranged. I mean, look at this. That's crazy movement. We created imbalance last week from the interest rate news release, and we've pretty much filled almost about 70%, of that imbalance. But this was a lot of volatility for a Monday. All right, and usually during NFP week, if there's a lot of movement towards the beginning of the week, NFP is usually weak on Friday. From what I've seen, it's just a pattern that I've picked up on. And so we're seeing a lot of movement right now, and it's like it seems like the market makers are pushing the market up, back to an area that they, made some moves and placed some orders in. And so I believe that this daily sell zone is going to be a great place to sell from. All right, now I have a 1 hour sell zone here, but that's not for the call. That is not what I'm calling out for Markup Mondays. We want to wait for this daily sell zone up here. As far as a buy, if we were to get in for a buy anywhere between this high and this low, if we come below this low here, all right, that's where the stop loss would be. I would assume that EU is going to continue down into the mitigation area, through the mitigation area, and down to our buy zone. All right, as far as for the buy that we'll attempt this week for Markup Mondays, I called out the sell, and now for the buy, I really like this zone down here, all right, on the 1 hour. So in between price level, really we have a big figure level in that area. But let's say in between the price level of 1.11880 and price level 1.11945. That is the buy zone. Stop loss below this low down here. All right, now we have a buy zone, but what's going to be the exit? If we get in for a buy here, what's going to be the exit? Right, our stop loss is down here. Well, how far away from this entry is this stop loss? Because that's going to determine what we're going for as far as our take profit. So let's say we did get in at 1.11945. It's more of a swing trade. So let's say 70 pips, and we got to go for 70 pips on the upside. Let's see if it makes sense. That is right below that first sell zone there. All right, and I believe there's more room for it to go up, but this would be a 1-to-1 ratio trade. All right, so 70 pip take profit, 70 pip stop loss. Whether you decide to get in at 1.11880 or 1.11945, right? Anywhere in between those price levels, I believe is going to be a good place to buy. And I believe that's more than likely going to happen tonight. All right, I believe that entry will happen in between tonight and tomorrow morning's New York session. So we have a buy zone and we have our daily sell zone. And I'm actually going to email these out. I'm going to email this markup out to everybody tonight. And I will also be sending out alerts once the entry happens or takes place, or when it comes down into the zone or comes up into the zone. And I will keep everybody updated on if it hits take profit, stop loss, or if we're getting out and, taking partial profit. All right, now I actually did this out of order today. Let's go ahead and get into what the news is going to be for the week. Stop sharing my screen. Give me a quick second, pulling it up. All right. All right, now outside of non-farm payroll, NFP, which we know that's going to be around 8:30 on Friday, NFP is always the first week. It's the first Friday of each month. NFP is always the first Friday of each month. We had a lot of news on EU last night, which more than likely had a lot to do with the movement. They had inflation rates. EU's inflation is actually doing a little better than the United States. All right, their inflation is starting to taper off for the first time since it's been a while. All right, so we're starting to see a turnaround in that, which is why we've seen, a move up on EU. But what we have coming up for Tuesday with EU, another big news release. I mean, this is a lot of red folders. A lot of red folders in between the hours of 2 o'clock in the morning and 5 o'clock in the morning. All right, so we're probably going to see a lot of volatility. And like I said, we'll see more than likely that either a push down or a push up, whether our sell zone is hit or our buy zone is hit. The volatility is more than likely going to come from these news releases. And then we have U.S. news in the morning at 9:45 and 10 o'clock, all red folder news. On Wednesday, we have unemployment change for EU, employment change for the United States, 8:15 in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning for EU. Thursday, another huge day for EU on news and the United States dollar. All right, all red folders from 3:15 in the morning until 10 o'clock in the morning. And then on Friday, of course, we have non-farm payroll, which I don't expect a lot out of because of everything that's taking place leading up to non-farm payroll. All right, so that is the update on the news for the upcoming week. All right, and now are there any pairs that anyone out there wants me to analyze and look over? Go ahead and drop it in the comments and we'll get to it since we have time. Right, and while you guys are doing that, we'll talk about U.S. oil. All right, we'll talk about U.S. oil. Let me go ahead and bring this up. All right, so the educational gem of the day is going to be about U.S. oil. And I don't see a lot of investors, talking about this. I don't see a lot of casual investors, talking about this either. When Bitcoin is on the run, when SHIB is on the run, when Dogecoin is popping, you see, all these people who don't ever talk about anything with investing, talking about these cryptocurrencies and these things, and nobody's talking about U.S. oil. So U.S. oil is making new highs, and we called this we've been calling this for a couple months now for U.S. oil to be buying, but it makes sense for U.S. oil to be bullish right now because what's going on with Ukraine, Russia, and the United States, war is definitely on the horizon. It's a possibility that there could be real war, like, meeting troops on the ground, bombings, things like that. And so when it comes to war means money. War means higher gas prices. We can go back to, let's go to George W. Bush's term, right? He was elected, I believe, in 2001. That same year, September 11th, 2001, we had the towers get hit. And then from that point on, gas just went up because we sent soldiers over, to Africa, right? We sent them over there to Iraq, and we went to war, and war means money. War, they need gas, right? We need to fuel equipment, planes, to transport equipment from America to over in wherever the troops are. War means money. And so with higher gas prices and with war going on, it's going to be a higher demand for gas because gas is going to be used by the troops and by the United States Army and also the other side. So there's going to be a higher demand for gas, and with demand comes higher prices. And so it's really setting up to become bullish. And I think now is a great time to invest in some oil, get some oil contracts. I don't know who your brokerage is, but make sure your brokerage provides contracts with U.S. oil and put you some money in U.S. oil. All right, because more than likely this will be somewhat of a slight hedge against inflation, especially with war on the horizon. So that's my educational gem for the day. When it comes to oil, war causes oil to go up in price. And so that's kind of a tip off to, as far as where to put your money or another place that you could put your money. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Now let's go ahead and get into the news brief of the week. All right. This is a short one, but it should be a good one. Should be an interesting one. And I'll have some more coming out later in the week. So be on the lookout for that. But here is the news brief of the week.
Anybody remember the movie 28 Days Later? The movie where the infected chimpanzees are let loose in the lab, and 28 days later, almost every human on Earth has become a flesh-eating zombie. Well, this is not quite that, but 7 days ago in Danville, Pennsylvania, a truck full of monkeys was involved in an accident, and 3 of the monkeys got loose. A local woman named Michelle Fallon, who witnessed the crash, was hissed at by one of the monkeys and later developed symptoms like cough, runny nose, and pink eye.
Next thing you know, the dump truck hits the trailer and it spins around, and both of them crash down into the trees. They had this like green cloth over, so I peel it back and I go to stick my finger in there to try to pet it, and it pops its head up, and I'm like, oh, it's a monkey. So I was like, I'm shocked. I didn't know they could have diseases or whatever.
We think it's interesting that Ms. Fallon's claim she was hissed at by one of the monkeys was left out of this interview, and that this particular shipment of monkeys was on its way to a CDC-approved quarantine facility. The location of the lab and the type of research they were going to do is unclear. Authorities have been instructed to secure the area for the Centers of Disease and Control Prevention and the Pennsylvania Department of Health. All 3 of the monkeys were euthanized, and now PETA has expressed concerns on the treatment of the monkeys, and that's starting to get a lot of attention. Stay woke. I know the start of a bearish market when I see one. SPX 500 represents the top 500 American companies and is a representation of America's stock market health. Since the COVID crash and rebound that happened back in March of 2020, the SPX 500 has been extremely bullish and investors have enjoyed record gains, but now for the first time since the COVID crash, SPX 500 has recently shown serious signs of bearishness. Inflation, supply chain issues, the Federal Reserve's talks of interest rate hikes, and being on the verge of World War III has most investors in fear and uncertain right now. As investors take profits, cut losses, and dump stocks, price should continue to push down. Now let's get into the technical analysis. 2 major lows on the daily time frame have been broken. Although support was found at a low created back in October of 2021, for 4 consecutive days, price has closed below the 200 exponential moving average. SPX 500 will more than likely start this week bearish and continue to drop. And this week's Social Media Mental Illness Award goes to this gentleman right here. And it was at this moment that he knew he f***ed up. Let the tape roll. Let's run that back one more time.
All right, so that wraps it up for this week's news briefing. I got 2 more stories, like I said, coming out, so be on the lookout for that. Does anyone have any like comments on anything that they just seen? Any of the stories, any of the news briefs for the week? Anybody got any like thoughts? What's your thoughts on the monkey situation? The monkey situation. What's your thoughts on that? You think it's just, nothing to worry about? Don't pay any attention to it? Nothing suspicious going on there? No need to be a conspiracy theorist in that situation? What are you guys' thoughts on that? All right, because this is a couple of things that I found odd as I was researching it. A lot of different, really mainstream news reporters, they had different stories, or they decided to focus on different parts of the story. Some of the news outlets are focusing on the monkeys, the mistreatment, and the experiments that were going to be done on the monkeys. Then you have some people who are just focusing on the fact that an accident happened and 3 monkeys got loose, and why the CDC, was involved. Then you have people who are focused on Ms. Fallon, who she actually, I didn't put it in the video, but she has COVID. She contracted COVID-19 after that situation. You look it up. I'm telling y'all, look it up. Do your own research. It is real. People are saying that this is possibly the new variant, but I just really thought that was like weird. I thought that was like really weird. Does anybody have any pairs that they would like me to analyze this week? All right. If not, guys, anybody who, if you aren't already a student, and if you don't know, I do have a trading course, and it's called Snipers Anonymous Trading Course. We have live classes, one-on-one mentorship. We have a very supportive community, video lessons, quizzes, and homework to make sure that you're picking up what it is that you're learning. You're going to have your own student dashboard. We have lessons for beginners, lessons for experienced traders, trade signals, and trade performance assessments. All right, and all you need to get started, $25 to apply. And if you're accepted, it is then $125 to get started, and then $74.99 a month after that to maintain access to everything. All right, so if you've been interested in learning how to trade, if you want to get some real results, or even if you have experience trading, and I know how it can be. A lot of people know how it can be. My students can tell you how it can be. If you want to snipe the markets and have your way with the markets, like me and some of my students are doing, my advanced students, go ahead and just either reach out to me or visit snipersanonymous.com. But that wraps it up for Markup Mondays. Like I said, be on the lookout for more news briefs. And then everybody on this call, if you're subscribed to the emailing list, you're going to get a markup of EU tonight. And like I said, I'm going to also email you updates on when those trades take place and how we're managing them. All right. But other than that, I hope everyone has a great start, to their week. I hope you got value from this call. We do this every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Facebook Live, Delonte Nova Brady, or on YouTube. All right. Our YouTube channel is Bold People Get Rich, or on our website, which is bpgrinc.com. We live stream from there as well. But everybody enjoy the rest of their week, and I will see you all next week. All of my students, I will see you in the chats, on the charts, and remember to always stay safe, stay dangerous. Peace.